Hello YouTube, once again this is Weston at Weston's Toys and Collectibles, and today we will be looking at the Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron Trilogy Voyager class Starscream. So this is the second Voyager figure from the Earthrise set. Definitely a good choice. And this is, his robot mode and his modified F-14 jet mode. You can use them with Battle Masters. Here's that artwork. Once again, that's on all the boxes for Earthrise. And this really nice artwork of Starscream pointing and yelling, presumably at Megatron. Now, the odd thing about this picture of Starscream, though, that I find odd, is it's seemingly the Earthrise, or the Siege Starscream's upper torso here. And definitely, these are definitely look like the Siege Starscream shoulder pylons. The wings look similar to the Siege Starscream as well. So this looks very much like the Siege Starscream figure. Oh, and the hips. So yeah, this is a picture of the Siege Starscream. We'll just say that. It looks like Siege Starscream. He's yelling at somebody, probably Megatron. We're going to go ahead and get that out of here. And we're going to actually look at this figure. So here is the Earthrise Voyager class Starscream. And this is a great looking figure in both modes. So you can see the nice cerulean blue color. This nice pale gray. The white and red stripes here, the Decepticon logos on the wings, and then this red here. Oh man, this looks great. I love this figure. He doesn't really have realistic thrusters on the back. They're more like, well, I mean, they're kind of like the F-22 thrusters. If you remember his F-22 form from the movies, there he is in this just great looking figure. There he is from the bottom. And if this looks familiar to you, it's because, well, I'm going to compare him with this figure. This is the Transformers Universe, Classics, Generations, Reveal the Shield, what have you, Seeker mold. This is Thundercracker, of course. I do have a Starscream, but we're going to get to that in robot mode because I didn't want to transform two figures in this video. So, you can see definitely a size difference. But these figures are so alike due to, just with the transformation. I mean, there's only so much you can do with this jet mode, but there's Starscream and Thundercracker just kind of, compared. You can see how much smaller this is. Even like the, wingspan. But yeah, this figure is definitely a upgrade to this figure. So we can get into that right now. He only comes with 2 accessories, and I have them installed here. These are his null ray cannons, null ray blasters, very iconic weapons from his G1 days. Just molded in the same gray plastic, that pale gray plastic that he's known to be molded in. So we'll set those off to the side. Now this figure doesn't have landing gear. He has this section here is raised out so it doesn't scrape the paint on the surface. These are raised out so they can hold him up too, but he doesn't have landing gear, which would have been nice. But yeah, you can pretty much see how this is going to work, and if you're familiar with this figure here, you can see how it's going to work. They work about exactly the same. So let's get into it. So to transform him, you want to start by flipping these wings up. and they're, this is just on a little clip. But this is on a hinge. It's pinned in. And he has this hinge here as well. That's more for robot mode, but yeah. So flip these hinges up to flip the wings around. Get them in their proper starscream orientation. You'll flip these side wings up. We can come to the bottom here and flip up this little plate here and flip out the shins. You're then going to untab back here and basically combiner wars his legs out. And there's tabs on the back, and it's easier to do if you separate the legs, but tab that one in. You kind of have to bend his leg forward, tab it in. And then these have little slots here that will tab in on there. And that will lock his legs in place. These are tabbed in. You can see this tab race come undone. So just, fold these out. Now, if you fold these up, it usually will bring the heel with it. It does move separately if you are wondering, but yeah. Usually you bring that up if fold the heel out as well. So, and then flip the toe up. Fold the heel out and flip the toe out. And then you can just, stand them straight up. Next, I want to flip that down because that's indecent. He's got these tabs here, which I am so afraid of. Oh, you can't even see that. These tabs right here. I know there's going to be paint scraping. I know that. But I just fear those are going to break. There's already paint scraping here on both sides. But basically, you just kind of want to flex this up and get that around it. And oh my gosh, that's so scary. And then also what doesn't make it any easier is that he has these 5mm pegs that go into his shoulders. Doesn't make it much of an easier connection, especially going back into jet mode. That did not sound good. I mean, nothing broke. Nothing has broken. I've transformed him several times. I just think it's going to be an eventuality, though. So his arms, you want to flip them out, just like on the Classics mold. However, with this version, he has these little slotted areas here. You can see that these side tabs here will go into. Just like on the Classics mold, you want to bring the... Wow, that came down. This is a really loose joint. Just really loose. I mean, it doesn't need to be tight or anything, but yeah. And it brings this with it. That's a bit different. But that clips into the back here. You want to rotate this just like on the Classics mold. Bring this up just like the Classics mold. And then you want to make sure you slip this into this slot here. And then just kind of close it up, line everything up properly. Now the arm transformation is a lot cooler than the Classics mold, because on the Classics mold you just basically flip the hand out of the side here, and he had like kind of weird proportions. On this you actually, want to pull this section out, and it can be a little bit tough because it's tabbed in. There's a tab here, tabs into that slot there. And then you want to just kind of pull that out. And then it also is like, it's not tabbed in the back, but it's such a tight connection there that you just kind of like, you have to kind of force it a little bit. And you'll see this extra spare bit here in the elbow. There's the elbow joint proper, that's there. That actually slides into this slot here. So you can see it on this arm, how that's right there. And it's got a little slot on it there. You'll just peg that closed. It's nice and solid. And then flip his hand around into that gap. Move these back around. So yeah, you want to do the same thing on the other arm. So open it up. This one's always fought me. Flip this out. Flip this down. Make sure it's tabbed in, and then flip the hand down all the way. Bring his arms down. And then last but not least, just like on the Classics mold, you want to bring the nose cone back. Now the cool thing about this is instead of it being attached in the back of the head, this actually comes down and fills in this gap here, and then the nose cone just hangs there, but you know, what are you gonna do? However, it does hide fairly well behind his back. You can't really see it. And there is the new Starscream. Oh, I want to go ahead and give him his null raise. The new earthrise Starscream in his robot mode, and he looks great. He looks excellent. He's just all the right colors. So there he is, and he is fantastic. He feels nice. He's got a good weight to him. So I'm going to go ahead and compare him to a couple of the more recent earthrise figures. Here is Grapple. You can see Grapple's slightly taller. And here is Hoist. Hoist is slightly shorter at the head. I'm going by where the head's at, not, you know, with these. Clearly he's taller with these. That's pretty cool. I'm going to show him with Siege Megatron and Soundwave. So here he is with Siege Soundwave. I gave him a microphone. Siege Megatron. And that's a pretty good Decepticon lineup there. He's a slightly shorter than Soundwave, which I think should be about correct, but they're close to the same height. And then Megatron is just like a complete head taller than him. So, you know, that's, I believe, a good scale for these three. Here he is with the leader class Shockwave figure on his hover thing mode. So you can see, we can take him off actually and show a more decent size comparison here. He's got really tight ratchets. So they're almost exactly the same height. So yeah. So he scales really well in this new Cybertron Trilogy, War for Cybertron Trilogy series. Let's put him back down here on his place on the shelf. I'm going to go ahead and show him off with another figure with a similar jet mode. Here is the Blitzwing figure, and Blitzwing should be bigger than Starscream, definitely. I think that works out, though. I haven't compared them in jet mode, but I'm sure they're about the same size in jet mode. Considering the size of the wings is about the same. Yeah. So, pretty cool. I kind of count Blitzwing as a sort of foe seeker. You know, he has a jet mode that's the same as all the other seekers, but he's not really one. And then finally, here's the comparison you all want to see. Earthrise Starscream with the Classics mold. And you can see how much larger he is, as well as just, you know, you can just see how clean this is compared to this. Articulation wise, this guy definitely is way better than his former counterpart. And I like the colors better on him. I do like the Decepticon logos on this one better than this one, because these are kind of washed out purple. This is a nice dark hue of purple. But yeah, this like red is washed out, this blue's too dark. It's, you know, and he's white, he's not gray. So this is definitely an easy replacement Also, with like these feet are kind of weird. Let me come down here to see his feet. His feet are kind of weird, and they, don't like lock in properly like they should. It's by the time they got to this figure, there was so much mold degradation. It's not even funny. I think I actually tightened up the hips. Yeah, I tightened the hips up with some super glue. I had to go in and tighten some joints, and like even his arms are kind of loose. They're not as loose as they could be, but yeah, you can see. And then this figure just doesn't have heels. He just doesn't. So as great as this figure has been, I can see a lot of these going on the market here soon, because this figure is just so much better. It's initially it's the same thing but bigger. Kind of like with what Chinese knockoff companies like to do. Yeah, he doesn't have heels though, and this guy has heels, so that definitely helps. Articulation wise, this is so much better because his head has this attached here, so you kind of have to move his head and the kibble at the same time. I mean, you can kind of move his head without touching his head though, which is kind of cool. But this new figure, it's connected down here below the neck, so it's not even attached to the head. So the head's on a ball joint, so you can look all over the place, all the way around, look up, look down. You can curse you, Megatron, stuff like that. The arms, very similar here at the shoulder. You can see he has a hinge here out, and then all the way around. It's a universal joint. Also, he has like this hinge here that is not locked in place, while on this figure it is locked in place. But yeah, he's got hinge up and then a swivel all the way around. If you move his wing out of the way, which is another cool thing, that he put like a fold here on the wings, so he can just kind of have his wings angled back a little bit, if you prefer this look. And let me raise this up a little bit. So yeah, if you prefer like that look, you can do that. Pretty cool. Bicep swivel, which this guy does not have a bicep swivel, so there's that. Elbow bend, a little over 90 degrees. This guy had a less than 90 degrees. You can see he's stooping forward. Hips, universals on this guy. You can go out that far. You lift this forward, and they can go all the way forward, and not very far back, which is all right. I don't expect figures to have legs go all the way back, because my leg doesn't go all the way back. So, as for this mold, that's as far forward. This is all molded in, and it's on a ball joint. But it can't go all the way out like that, so that's a good thing about this figure. Knee bend, 90 degrees. Knee bend, over 90 degrees. And then ankle tilt. It doesn't go very far, but you can get a decent stance out of him, and you can just be like blasting somebody. He does not have a waist swivel, so you can, you kind of don't have that option. Oh, and he also has these rotations here, I forgot to mention, which this guy does not have. He's got a rotation below the knee, which is not the same as a rotation in the hip or in the thigh itself. So yeah. And then this guy had null rays that had firing missiles. They look terrible. So, and they're in one of my boxes somewhere, put away. So, yeah, definitely an awesome upgrade. So these guys are hitting the shelves right now. You can find them at Walmart, Target, Meijer, places like that. Other stores. You can buy them online. I don't see this guy selling out too quickly. However, he is packed, I believe, 1 per 4 Voyager figures. I believe it's 1 starscream per every 3 grapples in a case. So, you know, if you see one on the shelf, it's most likely the only one that the store got in that case. Yeah, so this has been my review of the Transformers Earthrise Starscream. Is he necessary? If you have the Classics mold and you don't want to get rid of the Classics mold, then he's not 100% necessary. But if you do want a good update to that, as well as a figure that will scale well with your siege line in the Earth mode of Starscream, this is the perfect option for you. He's very posable. He does not have a waist swivel though, but I can look past that because of, you know, just all the other, you know, articulation on the figure is great. So yeah, and then the paint is beautiful. The paint is just gorgeous on the chest, on the head, just amazing. And he's very clean. He does have this cockpit here, but that's been a Starscream thing since day one. But yeah, so if you really like this figure and you want it, go out and buy it. I do recommend it, but it's not necessary in your collection if you have the Classics mold, or if you have like the Siege one and you like the Siege one in robot mode, because I believe the Siege one looks a bit better in robot mode as well. So thanks for watching this video, and until next time, till all are one.